that's before them, because they want to make God happy or stop him from being sad. They want to please Allah. So human wisdom and all the rest of it gets thrown to the side, right? Islamophobia is a load of crap, absolute load of crap. It's not factual, it's not functional, it's a way of shutting people down from the reality and the dangers, the real life, day-by-day dangers of Islamic beliefs. They're flogging Sheilas all over the world, they're killing their own people all over the world because of Sharia law, right? Now we've got Sharia law. They're living Sharia law in Western countries like Australia, in their cell groups, right, in their communities. And he'd know all this. You can see by his countenance, there's a lot more going on in his head than what he's able to communicate, right? Oh yeah, he's in a daze. This guy's punch drunk because it's manifested. You see, Albanese, Wong, and who's that bloke that led in the ISIS brides, Tammy? Tony Burke. They didn't think that the Muslims, the jihadists, would do this in Australia, right? That's how cognitive dissident they are. But this guy'd know more than all of them, along with Marine Faruqi and these other fools. They would have known things and seen things that we wouldn't even be able to comprehend.
We're a great. Like, I genuinely, to my bones, believe this is a great country. Like, I've been able to do stuff I could not, if my parents had made the choice.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder, the question was, what are your constituents, Muslim constituents, saying to you about the Islamic jihadist massacre? And he's done everything but answer it. Listen to the blah, blah, blah.
To stay where they were, I wouldn't be who I am today. And it's all because this country gave us a great chance. And so we've got to commit to that. But people are grieving, people are mourning. We should recognise that. Another thing I just want to stress too, Laura, is, you know, at a time where people are grieving and mourning, we don't need more anger and hate.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. I'm sorry, buddy. Oh, yes, we do. The problem here is the Islamic jihadist anger and hate towards Western civilization, including Australia. And it has to be faced with the same amount of enmity. Now, Christian enmity or Western enmity towards these Middle Eastern radical fanatical murderers, massacres, will not be solved by allowing them to chop you up, blow you up, shoot you, or take your life or maim you or whatever. Now, if you can stamp this out without having anger or showing any emotion, then that's even better, apparently, right? If you've got no conscience about taking Islamic jihad front on in Australia without any anger or conscience, by the sound of it, this is what they're saying, that's the way to go. But if you think you're just going to sit there and go, well, I've got to be peaceful, when you're stabbed in the back or beheaded or shot down, don't stand there and say, well, hang on, that didn't work, because we already know after millenniums it don't work. Islamism is not going to stop, right? It's not going to stop. The jihad has to go on. It's part of the takeover. The Islamic takeover.
People are feeling the way that they are. We don't push them away. We bring them closer to us. And we do that.
Now, I don't know what he's rambling on about, but I've got people in my life that have shit on me that I don't want to go near with a 10-foot pole. What makes him think for 1 minute that the Jews want anything to do with the Muslims? Right? Because time and time again, let's go to the heart of it. Israel has tried to coexist with the Islamists in Palestine and all around. The Middle Eastern countries had nothing to do with Palestine because they were programmed to kill the Jews. If you look at the educational system, thanks to UNRWA, the corrupt United Nations organisation that made trillions out of it. That's why they held them in Palestine and didn't shut it down. They're so far out of doing their homework that they thought they could put in a vote for a Palestinian state. Palestine was given the land in 2005 and desecrated it. They were given agriculture, waterways, a water system. They dug all that up, turned it into bombs. They destroyed the agriculture. The Jews even took the graves with them because they knew they'd desecrate those, and they turned Palestine into a rat hole. They harassed Israel for decades, and Israel just got to the point after an invasion that, let's get it right, attacked innocent civilians. They didn't take on the Israeli army. They're not brave. These people are morons. They're weak cowards. They wouldn't face the Israeli army. No, they went and shot up civilians watching telly and having barbecues and all. This is what they do, right? And he knows it. This is what they do. And if you think you're just going to sit there and be peaceful and wait for them to come knocking on your door, you are out of your mind. And this is where these gutless wonders need to stand up and say, we won't tolerate, and we will find you and eliminate you, deport you or arrest you if you bung this Islamic jihadism on, if we hear anybody talking about it or all the rest of it. But they won't. And you know why blokes like this won't? Because their job depends on these people's votes. And that's why he's in a trance. He's hamstrung. You can tell by the way he's speaking. His shoulders are deflated. His countenance is deflated. This guy's in it up to his neck, and there's nothing he can do except talk suicidal empathy upon everyone. Don't listen to him, to try and make a case. For millenniums, Islam has tried to overtake civilizations, and it's failed. They talk about the Crusades. All the Crusades was to stop the massacres of the Islamists, and it took them hundreds of years to accomplish it. 200 million people were killed and slain apparently before the Crusades started by the Muslims, and that's going to continue. I don't think the Westerners understand how savage and brutal and how unaccepting the Islamist religion is, the Muslim religion is, in its full scriptorial context. Not in its watered down, we can cohabitate with the Westerners context. In its full manifest scriptural context, the Muslim has no other choice except to take out the infidels and those who will not align with their religion. That's it. That's not Islamophobia. I can tell you as a professional theologist, that's fact, whether you like it or not. Now you can stand there and let yourself be chopped up to bits and go, oh, I didn't do anything because I didn't want to be Islamophobic. Or you can stand there with all the rough you can muster to try and save yourself and say, this don't belong in Western society. This doesn't belong in Australia. But they can't do it because they've got too many invested interests in that culture.
Not just through the act of grieving and mourning, but I think building the stronger bonds that we need to as a country. And
that's crap. Australia's a peaceful, happy, accepting country. That's how they got into the country. Right? Nobody's ever tried to cause trouble with the Chinese, the Muslims in any way, shape or form. But jihad, Islamic jihad demands, right, at the bottom line, at the fundamental bottom line of the bloody Islamic Muslim text, the infidels have to go. You have to take over the areas in which you are. So how do you make peace with that? You don't. They have to conquer. There's no resolve. There's no in between. There's no way of washing it over with Islamophobia and all that sort of thing. If you sit down and read the texts, right? Get your finger out of your ass and read the text. You have no choice but to say, this is dangerous. This shit's dangerous. Wherever they go, they wreck everything. It's dangerous. Right? So the ones that are showing restraint and just happy to, you know, fly under the radar and be grateful that they're in a country that's accepted them, all well and good. But for the radical fanaticals, which ain't going to change, you better have a plan on how, if your day comes, how you're going to save yourself, because they're just going to chop you up.
I've been thinking a lot about like the marker in terms of leadership was, you know, if you look at the way Jacinda Ardern
destroyed New Zealand and ran out. She destroyed it. Right? He can't even look this woman in the eye. He can't look the camera in the eye. He's talking shit.
Conducted herself, what she did for her country.
What she did to her country, she destroyed it. They're trying to sue her. They're trying to sue the woman for what she did. She was an authoritarian paid out by Big Pharma. Come on, open your eyes.
After a terrible terrorist attack, and we've experienced the worst terrorist attack on our soil at Bondi, the worst time for Jewish Australians.
The worst time for any Australians.
Special time in their calendar.
Oh,
and I just think
God.
Their fight is our fight on this.
Oh,
on
my
anti-Semitism,
God.
their fight is our fight. And in doing that...
Okay, so if the Jewish fight's this Muslim bloke's fight, then he has to take Islamic fundamental radical jihadism head on. Head on.
We can tackle this, and we can tackle other forms of racism and division that affect other people in our community. But the biggest thing we have right now, and I just remember, as I said, the words of the rabbi who spoke with me and gave me that advice about the fork in the road. We were at that fork in the road.
We're not at the fork in the road. We've gone over the cliff.
Let's choose. Let us choose as a country to bring people together at a moment where
our country has always tried to bring people together. The Australians have always tried to bring people together. It's radical Islamic jihadism.
They're
really angry.
Sorry, Tammy.
Yeah, they are.
Have you felt that? Have you felt that directed towards you as a Western Sydney Muslim Labor MP, or have you felt that directed towards you as a member of the Albanese government?
Both. They're both contributors to the Albanese pro-activism, pro-Palestinian, Muslim fundamental core beliefs. That's why he's staring into nowhere. Because he's completely and utterly hamstrung.
So this, I know people will have different views. I respect that. Great thing about our country is you can express those views.
Oh yeah, and you can go around shooting people as well if you're a Islamic jihadist, yeah?
I don't, to be honest, I don't, this isn't about me.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because the original question she asked was, what can you tell us about your constituents, Muslim constituents in Western Sydney, how they feel and what they're saying, and all he's done is talk about himself, and now it's not about him. Well, how about answering the question, mate, so we know what the Muslims are saying, because the mob here was wondering, why aren't the Muslims fucking well saying anything? I haven't seen one Muslim get up there and condemn what those fucking jihadists did.
At our country.
Oh, fuck.
And
But can you give us an idea of where you think that, like, how have you seen the anger? Where is that being directed?
Oh, God.
I've seen it directed at the Albanese government.
100%.
And the Albanese in particular. Now, to think that one man, even if a Prime Minister could have stopped this, I don't think anyone truly believes that.
He could have prevented it to a very high extent. Instead of provoking it, he did nothing. He allowed the jihadists, whether they have been active, proactive, subliminal, passive, whatever, he let it run rampant on every single Australian iconic place he could find. The Sydney Harbour Bridge, the Opera House, and then it culminated in a dead set fucking exhibition of Islamic jihadism on Bondi Beach.
But it's how a leader steps up in a moment, and a lot of people
We're fed up with it.
Disappointed that he hasn't this week.
So there are a mix of things that you've touched on in that observation.
There's one thing she's touched on, and that's the failure of the Albanese government to confront Islam, be it in any of its negative forms. They let it go. Now again, he's staring into outer space. Right? This guy's in a daze.
This is a really hard time for the country, with the worst terrorist attack directed against Jewish Australians at a special time.
No, hang on a minute, mate. This has been going on for over 2 years. 2 years.
And so there will be a mix of emotions that are there. We're all trying to do the right thing.
No, hang on a sec. Let's get this straight. In our mob, there's no mix of emotions. It's out of control. The government's out of control. If you watch the Senate estimates, what's the Senate estimates? Everything's on fucking notice. They got no answers. They dodge and weave. The bloody Karen's destroyed, you know, the under 16's capabilities to learn off YouTube and everything. You've got the sex discrimination minister doesn't know what a fucking female or male is. These are the nitwits running the country.
Nothing's going to be perfect. We're just trying to bring everyone together and for us to move forward on this issue, in particular where people have felt there's anxiety, there's fear.
No, he's not a fucking psychologist. The issue is Islamic jihadism in Australia and its manifestation and the way in which the Albanese government completely ignored for 2 years that it was coming. And it ain't going to stop. Right? It's going to continue. That's just a warm-up.
Absolutely anger, to your point. And you know, if you've been in public life, you've got to have shoulders big enough to you're just going to have to cop it.
Okay.
Right?
Like crap and fucking hell, I'm not copping 15 people, particularly Jewish people, that gave us the Lord Jesus Christ, who built who our country's built on, right? And his ways, not these fucking Muslim ways, right? Our country's built on Christ's ways. And they just killed 15 of his people. The fucking Islamists. He talked about the Abrahamic relationship. God said that his seed will come through Ishmael. And that through Isaac. And Ishmael was going to be nothing but a pain in the ass. And that's exactly how it turned out. Christ came through Ishmael and through Isaac. Christ came through Isaac, and all Ishmael's been exactly what God said, is a pain in the dot.
When you ask me the question about what's directed to me, I'm not looking at me. And people will say their things.
We don't give a shit about you. We're trying to fix a problem, a death cult in Australia.
But I think what should guide us, like what we should utterly be focused on, is bringing people together, and we can do it.
Hang on a minute. We've always been focused on that. That's what Australia does. That's what the Constitution's based on, the Christian Constitution. But Islam will not have it.
Can't do it all perfectly, but commit to it. Commit to doing better.